rogue, 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 rogue. I'm rogue. It's just a mo today. The reason I've gone rogue is because I wanted to sprint, and I'm going to do some sprints, riding sprints. I'm working on an outline at the moment, but also just sort of a general collection of thoughts. Oh, hi, Mars. I was just thinking about you. I've been rewatching a lot of Blank Page Tavern, and so you're in my thoughts. What are you going to be working on during this rogue? It's just you and me right now. So, oh, someone's been screening my calls, but okay. Hi, Emily. Welcome. Welcome. Yeah, the kind of setup is 15-minute sprints with an indeterminate length breaks in between, just because. Hi, Lindsay. Welcome. We're keeping this one on the DL, guys. I love that it says there's still just one person watching. That's really funny. Hi, Molly. Welcome. Oh, there we go. It jumped up. Oh, well, I have called you multiple times because I was trying to tell you that I was going live. So feel free to join me if you wish. Hello, welcome. So I was trying to say 15-minute sprints with breaks. Look, this is our master today. My right hand is the master because I'm trying to really learn its signals where I can tell it's starting to communicate with me, and then I back off, rest it for a little bit, and then try and do some more typing. Oh, wow. Also, the amount of times I tried to call you and it goes straight to voicemail, so IDK, I don't want to hear it. You mean because I put my phone on Do Not Disturb because I have boundaries? Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to hear it. It's a hypocritical sort of situation. You can't always get a hold of me, but it's not acceptable for me to not always be able to get a hold of you. That's the double standard of our friendship, just so you know. I thought you knew that when you signed the fine print. But we're gonna start at the 45. So yeah, it's the crossroads demon in me. I'm the one who holds the contract, and our contract says you're not allowed to have boundaries. Sorry. Mara says, my upstairs neighbor set off her fire alarm while cooking, and it was only going for like 10 seconds, but boy, did it set off my fight or flight response. My body chose flight. I am anxious. Go for a brisk walk. I was going to say a run, but I don't know if you run, Mars. Because I know you have some, well, anyway, yeah, I don't know if you run, so maybe move. I didn't realize you could type up a contract like that. Hey, look, just call me Mizora from Baldur's Gate 3 because she's nothing if not a demon with a law degree. It's pouring rain outside. I will not be leaving the house if there's no actual fire. That's fair. Gonna use sprints to clean. Been sick for 2 weeks. Oh my gosh. Has wrecked this household. The way I understand the post-sick clean, but movement sounds like a good idea. Yeah, I just recommend moving a little bit just to release some of that. If you're really in flight mode, allow your body to release some of those chemicals. I did make the grave error of, hold on, I gotta get the timer up really quickly. I made the grave error of doing my PT right before this. So my arm is already a little complainy, Karen, but we're gonna this is the grand experiment, everybody, of how well Wallissimo can type. So wish me luck. What's everybody else going to work on? Wow, I thought I had to wait less time than I did. Now I'm just running the clock down. 4:44. It's so symmetrical. Let me know what everybody else is working on. And Katie Ann, I expect to see you on screen by the end of the sprint. So just so you know. Okay, happy sprinting, everybody. It's the 45. See you in 15. scared me. Also, that's incredibly loud. I'm going to turn down my YouTube just a scooch. Not to the point where I wouldn't be able to hear it on our next sprint, but just enough that it's not quite so intrusive. All right. Hello, Jessica. Of course, you go live the moment I stop writing. Start writing again. Easy solution. Anna says, hi, friends. Cooking dinner and trying to ward off the Sunday scaries. A, what's for dinner? B, what's for scaries? Maybe if you just like say things out loud, say the scary out loud, it will be less scary. And Lavender says, hello, 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 Lavender. I did well. I am just brain dumping. And in fact, oh my goodness, I think I brain dumped over 300 words, which is actually pretty good for me. I was doing like around 200 per 20-minute sprint yesterday. So 315, and like, let's take account of how the arm feels. The elbow, like shoulder area is really, really achy, but it's been really, really achy all day. Sorry, I'm assessing my wrist. It's a little tingly, but this is what we're gonna do. Should you so choose. Sit up straight, and I'm gonna do just a quick little round of nerve release exercises, okay? So I'm putting my arm all the way out like this, and then you put your hand down like that, okay? And then you lean your head in the opposite direction. And then in the same way, curl it back up, okay? If anybody would like to do this with me, it helps release the nerves that can get bundled up as we type. And I'm sorry, this is probably not very interesting for you to watch, but I do it to give me some relief because it just creates a really nice stretch all along my neck and into my shoulder, and it gives my shoulder some decent relief. So, and what's crazy is that when I first started physical therapy, I couldn't even do this without my whole arm going like up in electricity, like sparkling. And then over the weeks, it's just been about being able to extend and then finally get it to go down like that. And then the last thing was being able to do this. And this still causes my fingertips to tingle a little bit, but we are definitely improving. All right. And then for balance, because not everybody's right arm is the only problem, let's also do the other side. Lindsay says, doing this on my walking pad and about fell over. Anna says, I definitely always need the nerve stretch. Lol, we should be doing this more. Anna, from some of your comments that you've been leaving on my videos, it seems like you've also gone through a round of PT. What was your arm/wrist injury? Let me know. I'm trying to think how long of a break I want to take. I think, part of me is like, let's get back into it, but I think we're going to go to the 10, which I know is kind of from like a work-life balance perspective. 15-minute work sessions, 10-minute breaks might feel excessive, but again, I'm just trying to see how my wrist does if I rest it in that way, if we go with that pattern. And I need to be good about, as long as I'm not slouching, I can like relax. But JK says hello to basically everybody who's here and wants to know how everybody is and what you're working on. Molly says, got a load of laundry started and I'm way too out of breath for the amount of jumping over baby gates my house requires. I get that. Yeah, I injured it when we were first sent work from home during the pandemic and I worked on a laptop for way too long. Amazing. Yep. Were you also in goblin mode position? How long did it take you to recover? Just curious minds want to know. Oh, thanks, Anna. Completely understand how disabling it can be. Yeah. What's crazy is that there's like half my brain that doesn't even think it's that bad. Like half my brain thinks that I'm playing it up and I'm like not doing it for attention, but like doing it to be lazy. But I like know that that's not true. But also there's a part of my brain that tells me that that's true. But so it is nice when I like, not nice, but when I see doctors and surgeons and PTs, and they are doing like those diagnostic things on me, and they're like, oh yeah, you're super irritated. And I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm not making it up. Okay, that's good. Or like hearing people who've also had the injury, it's good to be like, okay, yeah, so I'm not just being a baby about it. I'm actually injured. Oh, but it does seem like I just sometimes think I'm insufferable though, because it's like the only thing I talk about anymore, which is, can I get a different personality, please? Anyway, it's like when I went on the Camino, it's like the only thing I can talk about. It got worse and worse from 2020 to 2023 when I didn't address it, and then I did PT, the two things that made the biggest difference to get me to 85%. That's where you think you are. After 6 years, I mean, I guess you overused for 3 years, but oh my God. Oh my gosh. Wow, Anna, I didn't realize that you were, 85% is such a huge, hurting myself on a kitchen grater and wearing a splint for 2 weeks. It finally healed. Wow. And 2 actual ergonomic work setup. Yeah. So I have, my brother-in-law got me an ergonomic keyboard and mouse for Christmas. And wow, the wearing a splint for 2 weeks. That's so interesting. I've worn a brace, and I still wear a brace at night to remind myself not to overuse my arm, but it's just really easily aggravated. And I'm not a star with jars. Thank you. That's like been my litmus test this whole time. I'm like, can I or can I not open a jar of olives? And for like several months, the answer was just unequivocally no. Like, your girl couldn't even make a fist, let alone clamp down onto something. And because of that, I couldn't even cook because, I'm already clumsy with my left hand. So chopping with my left hand is a problem. But if you can't even hold the thing with your other hand, nothing's going to get chopped. So I was chopped, if you will. But then I was able to open a jar of olives for the first time in December, and it was such a moment of pride, and I was like really, really excited. And I had a big backslide last week and have lost my ability to open jars again, but that's okay, because I think I've said this a million times, but one of my best friends from high school, when she heard about my injury, she sent me a automatic jar opener. So we are able to still consume food in this house, which is great. Molly says, no, but seriously, Wallace, your injury made me look into getting actual ergonomic computer equipment because we don't talk enough about how writing can mess you up. Literally, any repeated motion on the body is actually really not good for your body. Without rest, without breaks, there's overuse strain. If you have anything in your life that you do incredibly frequently, you should be looking into like preventative measures for preventing injury. Finally went to an actual doctor who believed me, and then did scans and found out that my body had made a little calcified ball in my joint. So it was pushing it out from time to time. Ah! Oh my God. I get that from my shoulder injury. I had shoulder issues for years where my shoulder would roll out of the socket and hurt all the time. I told myself it was just how my body was. Oh my goodness. Oh. Don't know why I feel so cold out right now. It's an unreal experience watching someone else go through the stages of disability/injury acceptance in real time. Like, oh. Have I gotten to acceptance? I don't think I have yet. I think I've gotten to this, like, we've started talking about surgery again. And I have a lot of thoughts about that. But the one thing I was like, oh, though, at least I'll be done then, right? If I get surgery, it'll be over. And I think that's happened a couple times during this whole process, where it was like, oh, you need a steroid shot. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get the shot, and then it's going to be over. I'm just going to be better within 48 hours. And I don't know why I had it, but everybody always said that this surgery has, everybody says that this surgery has a really quick recovery time. And I was like, oh, cool. So a few days. And then yesterday my PT was like, yeah, it's super quick, like 3 to 4 weeks. And I was like, okay, which I know is quick, but again, I'm thinking all in the context of I technically have a draft due on January 22nd. And granted, my publisher knows that that's not happening. They might not even get like more than a chapter from me on January 22nd. But Anna, this stuff is, it's peeling off because I've been wearing it for so long. This tape is it is like, I will be like, why am I in so much pain? And I realize it's because this fell off a few days prior, right? And then I'll have days being like, oh my God, I'm healed, I'm pain free. And I realize it's because we put on the K tape the day before and my body's just been getting a gentle massage all day. Wow. Oh gosh, it's the 10-minute, but this is such a fun conversation because I love talking about this injury. It's like my whole personality. I'm like Katie Heron and Regina George, word vomiting. Katie says, yeah, Lindsay, I've tried my best to help out, but truly the only way is through. Yeah, but for the surgery, I'm thinking about in the context of just like how much it's impacting my ability to write specifically. Not that I can't handle a 4-week recovery time, like as a person, as Wallace Kinney, I could handle 4 weeks. It's going to be fine if it's 4-week recovery time. But it's also the idea of like, oh my gosh, that's an extra 4 weeks in which I'm not going to be doing anything for the book. And there's just, a little bit of, yeah. ... Katie Ann says. My damage is that the evil stingray muscles I'm so sorry, Lavender. I do this thing where when I'm reading a sentence, I'm trying to predict where it's going to go. So in between reading the words evil stingray and reading the word muscle, I fantasized a whole alternate universe for you where you have a nemesis that is a stingray. Like you are like an deep sea explorer, although stingrays don't live in the deep sea. You're a shallow sea explorer, and there's this one stingray that is like after you. Anyway, just that's why I dissociated for a second. Anyway, my damage is that the evil stingray muscle on my back neck can add super sharp, painful headaches to my tension headaches. Oh, that's so rough. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, we match right now. Anna, keep talking. It's good to rest. Thank you. But let's go ahead and get into the next sprint. Thanks everybody for talking about the injury with me. Like I said, one of my favorite topics. Love talking about it. And let's go with Christmas cookie timer and get set up for a 15-minute. Wow. And then Lindsay said, acceptance journey might be better. Ha ha ha. And this might be part of the journey that you're talking about, but I'm just like, yeah, sorry. That's what I was trying to think about with Anna saying that she was at 85%, because I feel like, to me right now, I'm at a stage where I'm not ready to accept that I'm never going to be what I was, like I went through that mentally a little while ago and learned to accept that. But I'm at the stage where I'm like, no. I'm going to 100% recover from this. I'm still young, right? But in the grand scheme of things, actually, I'm not at, like, if I gotten this injury when I was like 12, I would have obviously been way better by now because the young body's way better at healing than the older body is. And I don't even like want to think about the idea of only being at 85% for years. Anna, how long have you been at 85%? Do you feel like your stasis is at 85%, or is it like getting better every day kind of thing? Is it like a spiral of improvement where you do move back, but then you move forward, and then the whole time you're going up? Or oh God. Okay. Oh no, am I going to crash out on live? Let's jump into a sprint. Oh God, it's fine. I can do it. We got to get 30 more minutes to meet my goals for the day. So no crashing out allowed until all 75-day challenge things are done. So, okay. Happy sprinting, everybody. Yikes. like I turned it down. And yet, just as late. Just as late, just as loud. It's because I saw this from Zara. I'm late, but I'm here. When I first read it, I thought you said, I'm late, but I'm afraid. And I was like, oh, don't need to be afraid. Lydia says, a stream right when I was about to tell myself that it was okay to keep procrastinating on my words until tomorrow. Nope, not okay. It's time to get to work. We're going to take a 10-minute break from my arm to rest. Why did it stop at the 29? Oh, I guess we didn't start on a perfect. Must not have started on a perfect. There we go. That's the 30. That was weird. Anyway, was that sprint like 14 minutes and 50 seconds rather than 15 minutes? Anyway, it literally doesn't matter because it doesn't matter. I did well. Let's see how much I got. I got about 200 words that time. More brain dumping. Also, I wrote a little, I don't even know what to call it. Just a kind of a reflection on some of the stuff that's been happening around the world the past few days. And I just had some thoughts on it and I wanted to write them out. So I wrote them out into the About You outline document. So that'll be an interesting find for me later. Let's see. Working on my journaling for the night. Mars, post a pic in the crafting corner, please. Molly cleaned off a shelf that had a lot of decor on it, but then David wanted to cuddle and he's the boss, so we cuddled. I love that. I'm gonna have to like force myself to never reject a cuddle as a mom, because I feel like as a child I would have, obviously, like a child would be so sensitive to that kind of rejection. But also I get very overstimulated by touch. And I've had people in my life say that you won't get overstimulated by your own children, but then I see a lot of evidence to the contrary. So, I mean, I'm going to need to perform, I don't know, meditation or something. So that way, I also don't want to be like cuddling and my child can tell that I don't like cuddling, you know? So I think we're going to have to work on that one. Mara says, it's nothing fancy, just basically listing all the stuff I did today. Tell us, please. I watched YouTube and spaced out. What are you watching on YouTube? Do you have a new hyperfixation to share? I feel like right around now is the time when I should be starting a new YouTube hyperfixation, because I've really been into cash stuffing for well over a year at this point. And I am starting to bleed back into the Baldur's Gate 3 of it all. Like I've been watching so many Let's Plays. Like I just have them on in the background. I fall asleep to them. And but that's kind of a return to an old one rather than a new one. So Lindsay finished her walk for the day and the week. Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, because it's a Sunday, I guess. Good. Wait. Like as in you have done all the walks you wanted to do this week, or you only want to do one walk a week and you do it on Sunday? Basically, Lindsay, I'm asking, does your week reset on Mondays or on Sundays? Is today the start of the week or the end of the week? Kat says, I was just looking for a stream to watch while editing my project. Well, welcome. Emily says, I made a milkshake while I tried to motivate myself to write. And did you succeed? No, you absolutely get overstimulated by your own kids. But for me, the cuddles are always welcome. It's just everything else. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, just like the random grabbing and, you know, ooh, I'm going to be fine. If you want to get into a sport, the Professional Women's Hockey League streams all their games to YouTube. I could see that. I have a lot of friends who get really into sports. This is not like old news, but sports are typically the thing that are hardest to draw me in, because I don't connect to the metaphor of violence. Yeah. My week starts on Monday. Got it. OMG, I've been watching The Last of Us playthroughs. I love that too. I can't do that because that's an apocalyptic game, but I used to watch The Last of Us playthroughs and I really enjoyed it, but I can't do that again. I got you, girl, lol. Jessica says, I was watching YouTube shorts. Aha, but I'm gonna watch a Gab Smolders playthrough. Undusted Letters of the Past. I don't know this. I got 173 words on Bones. The guys are yapping and getting drunk so they don't have to think about going back to their hometown. Oh my gosh. There is a of Monsters and Men song called, might literally be called Your Bones. Hold on. And it's like talking about how they've left a place and can't return to it. Hold on. In the spring, we made a bow out of arrows, out of bones. Set fire to their homes. Barefoot in the snow. What is that song? Hold on. My head is an animal by Monsters and Men. Where is that? I know it's my favorite album of all time. You cannot tell me I don't have it on this computer. I mean, I'm sure you could actually, but I would be devastated. My head is an animal. Not Dirty Paws and not 6 Weeks. Go to show album. Show album. Your Bones. It's called Your Bones, not Old Bones. You should listen to that. It seems like maybe, I don't know what genre Bones is actually, but let me know. That's one reason why having a good partner / support system is important. Sometimes I just need English. Sometimes I just need someone else to take him for a bit so I can decompress alone in a dark room. I get that. I need to do that when I haven't talked to anybody at all. So I'm in danger with children, but it's gonna be fine. My recent fixation is the Bondi Rescue Show on YouTube, Lifeguards in Australia. Oh, fun. I've been watching a lot of stuff on self-led curriculums and essay writing for pleasure. Oh my gosh. I just finished a book today, and also Lavender thinks maybe they've heard Your Bones by of Monsters and Men. I just today finished The King's General, and I am starting to think that high school AP Lit was wasted on, how old was I? 16-year-old Wallace, because the way I want to dive deep, the way I want to write an essay about all of my thoughts, like collect all my thoughts. I found, thank God, there was a Goodreads thread, because some Goodreads, like one of the reading challenges last year, it was their pick for May, and there were tons of people talking about it. But I had read the Wikipedia article for it, and it's such a like underappreciated book that even the Wikipedia article doesn't have a good synopsis. Like the synopsis they give barely is even the book. And it was so good and so grim and so bleak, and the characters are so flawed, but I was so invested. And also it's about the English Civil War. So it also just, and it's like a meditation on how that war affected the, people who at the start of it were like, oh, that's a problem for different people. Like that's not coming to our doors. And then when the war came to them and how they reacted, and oh my gosh. The King's General by Daphne du Maurier. I highly recommend, and it's definitely a book you can write an essay about. Also, if anybody's interested in Daphne du Maurier as an author, she's the author of Rebecca and My Cousin Rachel and the short story The Birds, as well as many, many other novels, plays, and short stories. My sister founded the Daphne du Maurier Society of North America and is the president, and we host all sorts of events and we live stream them. It's a literary society, and there are members all around the world. I think the website is just daphnedumauriersociety.org if you want to sign up and be a member. It's like a book club, but it's specifically for Daphne du Maurier. And it's not a book club. I'm not trying to say it's like just a book club, because we have like academics come and give talks and things like that. So it's a really great society. I'm so honored to be part of it. And also it's helped me discover what I can now confidently say as an adult is probably my favorite author. I now feel like that's something I get asked a lot when I go to author events, like who's your favorite author? And then who is the author that you feel like has like had the most influence on your writing style? And I now officially have answers for both. I can now say that Daphne du Maurier is my favorite author, and that Sarah Addison Allen, I think, is the author whose writing style I most pull from when I'm writing my current books, at least. They're worth it. I think The Cuddles, he's my favorite. My life is so full in the best way since he came into it. Oh, children. Oh, yes. I have no doubt about that. It's definitely on my list, my to-do list is kids. That sounded wrong. I don't consider children just a check mark to check off. It's something I've given lots and lots of thought to, and I definitively want children. So that was the way I was trying to say it. Bone/Mortimer and Damon Need More Bones is a goofy, very D&D fantasy. It's meant to feel like a Beer and Pretzels D&D campaign, so I don't know if that tone would be right. I think it would be right because D&D can have like more serious moments, and also the Monsters and Men song is like, it's giving fantastical adventure. I don't know. I love that whole album. My Head is an Animal by Of Monsters and Men, their debut, in my opinion, is one of the best albums to have ever been released, but I definitively think it is the best album of the 2010s. Definitively. Like, yes, absolute slay. Okay, everybody, I don't even know how long it's been since we ended, but we're almost at a 40. We're at almost even numbers, so I'm gonna go ahead and get another timer ready. We just hit the 40. Does anybody know how long that break was? Should we break for my hand is feeling good. How about we do 5 more minutes? Because first of all, I need to get us a new timer. Let's do the winter orgasm. But also I think we should all do some more stretches. And then this sprint, after this 15-minute sprint, I will have hit my 45 of writing for the day. And I'm really debating because, okay, thank you, Mars. So I'll just go for a few more then. Mars counted for us that it was about 10 to 11 minutes. And so did Molly. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you staying on top of it. That's very helpful for me. Everybody sit up straight. Get some stretches in if you feel like it, or if that would be helpful for your body at this moment, and drink some water as well. Take some deep breaths. And everybody say 3 things that you're grateful for in the comments. Okay, I am so grateful for the writing of Daphne du Maurier. That's one of my things today. I'm grateful for Sundays in which I can spend all day reading a book. And I listened to an audiobook today, and it just was so peaceful. I was able to get my apartment kind of cleaned up after being in a lot of pain for many days in a row, and so not really being able to clean. And so I don't feel quite as overwhelmed by my space. Also, I'm so sorry that you can see my neighbor. I should close that window. He's watching football or something. I don't know. And then what's the third thing I'm grateful for? Oh my gosh, I'm just so grateful for a million things. Wow. Oh my gosh. Wow, I really should just say, I keep seeing things I'm grateful for. And I'm like, I could say that. I'm like, but let's do something bigger. And I'm like, I can't. So I'm just gonna say the first thing that comes to my mind. I'm looking at a D20. So I'll say I'm grateful for Dungeons and Dragons as a gaming concept, and that it's having that it's accepted as a pastime and it's not so vilified anymore, because I love it so much. Also, speaking of Dungeons and Dragons, I am, along with Devasha, Mars, Becky C. Smith, and Katie Ann, reviving the Blank Page Tavern next Sunday. I'm currently in the process of rewatching and taking notes of some of our old streams, so that way it's fresh in my brain of what the adventurers were up to. And if you guys want to watch some of us author tubers play Dungeons and Dragons, we're playing our way through the Wizards of the Coast official campaign, Tomb of Annihilation, which is a campaign in which you cannot resurrect if you die, because there's something called the soulmonger that is preventing people from resurrecting, and is also slowly killing people who have been resurrected in the past. And so it's a big threat to the realms, and our 4 intrepid adventurers are in the jungle of Chult currently hunting down the soulmonger, and it's been chaotic and fun, and we haven't played since last March, and we didn't really play for many months before that too, because I had a book come out and things went crazy. So yeah, this truly is like a revival of it. And I have a goal of doing 26 episodes this year. So roughly 2 a month, plus or minus a few. Actually just plus a few, because if it's minus a few, then I won't hit my goal. But yeah, so that YouTube channel is called The Blank Page Tavern. We play on Sunday. I don't know if we've definitively agreed on a time, but it will be in the morning, and I'll reach out to them. It'll be a week from today. I'll reach out to them to confirm time, and then I'll post about the time in the Discord so people can mark it on their calendars if they want. Okay, and everybody's putting in their gratitudes. So I want to highlight that before we get started, even though, oh my gosh, it's almost the 45. Okay. Mars says, I think I'll make tea in this next sprint. I got a variety pack recently because I want to try and expand outside my usual chai. I love that idea. I've really been into cinnamon recently. Kat says, I'm grateful for my newfound reliance when it comes to this draft, being able to wake up looking forward to writing, and I'm grateful for being in PT for my legs so I can run again. All hail the physical therapists of the world. Molly says, chill weekends with my mom, contact naps with David, a secret. Sorry, my brain just glitched out. Molly. Okay, I'm gonna respect that boundary, but now I'm hyped up. Okay, Mars says, today I'm grateful for free things, specifically free furniture from the side of the road. Make sure you spray for pests, little free libraries and entertainment slash content that is free to consume. That's so great. That's a great thing to be grateful for. Being able to genuinely rest slash relax after a stressful week. My cat's being so silly and always making me laugh. Having a fridge full of groceries right now. I know I keep thinking about that, like how amazing it is that we have such incredible food available to us. Mars says, I am also, why is it not working? I'm also grateful for baked goods and more beverages, and I'm grateful for Uber Eats because I just ordered food. LOL. Awesome. Thanks everybody for sharing your gratitudes, and I will see you in 1458. Columbus sailed the ocean straight. still kind of loud. I even tried to turn it down at the last second, but oh well. All right, everybody. My total for the day, I think, has been about 800 words across these 45 minutes of sprinting that we've done. And I'm not totally sure what I want to do next. Like, that 45 minutes is what I said I would do. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, just because my elbow is burning a little doesn't mean I couldn't keep going, which I know I need to rethink. This is why I wish Katie Ann was here, because I could talk it through with someone live. Mara says, today I'm grateful. Oh, wait, I already read these. I am also grateful for baked goods and warm beverages. Oh, we did all these. It took me that entire sprint to make my tea. Oh my goodness. This non-chai sounds complicated. Finished putting Christmas away. My house is now bare inside. I one-handed carried my Christmas tree today out of my apartment all the way down to the massive compost bin of this apartment complex. And I left a string, not even a string, just a path of destruction of pine needles. And I feel really bad about it. Luckily for myself, the person who, ever since I've been injured, I have someone come here once a month to really just do a deep clean scrub for me and stuff, because I really can't scrub. And she's coming tomorrow. So she'll be able to clean up the pine needles for me. But I also feel terrible. I'm like, hi, I just made this huge mess. Now you get to clean it up, I don't know. But I also feel bad for the maintenance crew of my apartment complex, because they're going to have to sweep up all the pine needles in the hallways from me dragging this thing one-handed. But oh well. I spent most of that sprint trying to figure out why a bunch of people hate a particular Tumblr user, but I did get about 40 more words. Interesting. Is your PT having you push or rest as soon as pain hits? She's having me stop. I'm in all of my exercises and stuff, I'm instructed to not go past the point of pain. But I struggle to define pain. That's my problem, because I'm like, oh yeah, like my elbow is burning, but is that painful? Is that painful? I have a deep, deep, uncomfortable ache in my shoulder, but that's not pain. That's an ache. That's different, I like almost, something has to be like sharp almost for me to consider it pain. And so that's sometimes where I get a little confused, because I'm like, my body's signaling, but is it signaling definitively that it's done, or is it signaling to take a pause, or is it signaling that we're approaching a danger zone? It's not complicated. I was just moving slowly. It's raspberry pomegranate. Oh, that sounds very bright. Thankfully, we didn't do a big tree this year. A mouse got into our outdoor storage and ate our tree and lights and a myriad of other crap. So we just did a 2-foot tree. So we just did 2-foot trees. Oh, fun. Same. I'm the same way about pain. I would say from the outside that burning equals pain. That's how my injury got so bad, just the burning. Oh, okay. See, I always sort of thought that burning was like one of the early precursors to pain. Okay. Well, I'm going to give it a little bit. We're going to see how the elbow does. Oh. Sorry, I just pressed down on my elbow. I like rested it, and it caused tingling in my fingertips, which that usually means it's overexerted. Yeah, I thought the same. This should have been part of our physical education. Can I just say that? Can I just say that? Thank you. Thank you for allowing me this space. Well, friends, I think since we are at the start of this journey, this 75-day journey, I mean, we're not at the start. This is day 11, but it's still the start. I mean, out of 75. Yeah, no, like actually, it's giving, how much pain are you in? The normal amount. The normal amount is 0. Oh, yeah. When I was working with my therapist this year, one of the things that she was doing to help me communicate about my levels of anxiety, she was like, okay, we're going to take this chart and we're going to kind of chart across it places where you think you'd be at 0%, 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100% anxiety. And she was like, let's start easy. Let's start with 0%. And she's like, what's a time in your life when you've been at 0% anxiety? And I was like, like for me, it's like I'm always baselining around a solid like 18, if not 23. And like on a good day, we drop down to a 10. But if there's one thing my brain loves to do is it's to fill a vacuum. And what is 0 if not a vacuum, right? And so if I was even ever approaching 0 as a percentage for my anxiety, my brain would get so excited to give me all sorts of make-believe situations to become anxious about. So, and that's now how I'm feeling when it's like with the pain, and that's kind of, I've been having to think about that with my PT, right? When she's like, how was your pain level this week? And I need to be communicative with her and not just be like, oh, it was good, because it hadn't gotten worse than what it currently is. I need to remember that there was a time in my life, not too long ago, when I wasn't constantly rubbing at the shoulder and trying to stretch it out and really deeply uncomfortable and wanting to get into a hot bath to relax the muscles, but then also put ice on the nerves, because the nerves love ice but don't like heat, and muscles love heat and don't like ice. And yet I have a muscular and nerve issue. So how the hell do I target them? Anyway, she's on a roll. I relate so much. Are there any other tasks you can outsource during this time? David volunteers. Thanks, David. Thank you. When I was a PT, I was about to cry and rated it a 3 out of 10, and they told me I needed to rethink the pain chart. Yeah, the only thing I'm thinking about was there's this thing in The Fault in Our Stars about how the little girl who has cancer talks about how she was saving her 10, right? When she was in the worst pain of her life because of her cancer, she had like an infection or something, and they rushed her to the hospital, and the nurse says, what's your pain? And she called it a 9. And then the nurse said, that's how I know you're really strong, because you called a 10 a 9. And she goes, oh, I was saving my 10. And then, spoiler alert, but her 10 is a form of grief, is that pain. Devastating. But I had a very similar experience where when we were doing that thing with my therapist, and she was like, okay, what's something 100%? And I was like, well, I don't want to call this 100% because I'm sure that it could get worse. And then I walked her through a situation that I experienced, and she was like, I want you to take me so sincerely when I say this. I, as a licensed practitioner, am very comfortable calling that a 100%. And I was like, oh, okay. So yeah. Okay, friends. Well, it's been an hour and a half. I know that's kind of short for me, but what I was going to say is that today was a trial run, because we did 45 minutes of typing here. And I feel like what was interesting, this was actually, okay, hold on. Let's take a second to celebrate. One of the things I've been really stressed out about, the fact that I can't type for long intervals, is that I'm convinced I will never be deeply creative again, because I always consider myself to be someone who has to dive into things and really sit there and settle and let the pot stew and juices simmer before I get struck with moments of inspiration and like weird, interesting creativity and As I'm writing out this very rough second outline, I'm allowing myself to brain dump and come up with like spaghetti on the wall type situations. And there have been things that have been very surprising to me, but I'm super intrigued by it. We haven't had any huge light bulb goes off moment yet. But again, this was just a, introductory experiment. And, we got through 45 minutes, and I'm very, very happy about that. And I'm not aching, especially now that we've been on break for 5-ish or more minutes. Back in December, and actually I'm going to have a vlog going up about this either tomorrow or on Tuesday. And it's the second part of my writing retreat back in December vlog. But back in December, when I attempted my first 45-minute sprint in months, I only made it 25 minutes, and I had to stop because I was in pain. Like I pushed through discomfort and I got into pain. I was like, oh, I'm going to stop now because I'm being good, even though I had already by that point gone too far. And my elbow for the next several hours just increased the amount of pain that it was in, because it had been overworked. And the fact that we have stopped and well, let me put my elbow back down. Yeah. Okay. So I'm pressing it back down now and I don't get a twinge there and my fingers aren't tingling, which means I think we backed off at the right time. And I think I'm going to call it for the night in terms of I'm not going to push it to do another 45 or another 15, I should say. But I think this is a really good instance for our data collection, that this sort of situation where if I do 45 minutes worth of sprinting in about an hour and a half, I can get my work done for the day, but I don't necessarily over exhaust the nerve and the muscle. So thank you, Lydia. I think it is encouraging. Yay for improvement. Exactly. Maybe not excited if you're going to be in a lot of pain in it. Oh, I have cried so many times while editing this video. And I'm not saying anybody else is going to cry because it's more just cringy that I'm crying on the internet, but I have such deep empathy for myself because I remember the emotion I was feeling. I was trying so hard not to cry at the start of it. And then there's a clip where you can tell I'm starting to get teary eyed. And so I turn off the camera and then we cut and it's been like 45 minutes and I'm like beet red, puffy eyes, puffy cheeks, stuffed nose. Like I have clearly just been sobbing and it's great. And it makes me really emotional every single time because I just feel so bad for that version of myself because I know how upset I was. And also I still carry a lot of the fear of that version kind of was exposed to. So in fact, the thumbnail for this stream tonight is a thumbnail that made it into is a screenshot that made it into the vlog and is relevant to that act of the vlog, let's say that chapter. Thinking of your video about Tibifo outline, what if you do videos that could be just for you like that, to have a deep dive for the time being? That is such a good idea. I wrote that outline though. So for me, I've been really giving it my good old college try with voice to text in the months since I've been injured. And it is the main way that I communicate. I mean, you can ask my friends and family, like the emails I send now are like nonsensical because they're such stream of consciousness. The texts, I mean, there's like no grammar or anything. Imagine, you guys all know my speech pattern. Imagine getting a text from me that was just my speech pattern. It's sometimes really, really hard to dissect. My emails are a little better because I do read them through multiple times before I send them, but there's always a slew of mistakes that I don't catch in time. But for some reason, my creativity doesn't really trigger when I'm doing voice to text. So I can do a lot of admin tasks, voice to text, but I struggle with creative tasks for voice to text. Yes, improvement is wonderful. And so I'm grateful for that. Everybody, one final sit up straight. How about we do this? This is going to be my last little stretch for you guys for the night, and means I'll have done 3 rounds of PT for the day because I did one right when I woke up and I did one kind of this afternoon too. And we've been doing enough stretches here that I'm like, it counts. Okay, so you put your palms face down on the tops of your thighs, and then you just draw your shoulder blades back and kind of like you're rubbing the top of your hands over the top of your legs. And you do that 10 times. And you just draw your shoulder blades back. And try and keep your neck straight, obviously. And sit up tall. Doop, 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 doop. I can feel it in my right shoulder. This whole side of my body is just so messed up. And that's okay. All right. Very well done, everybody. I will probably be back because I think having the emotional support of, having friends along the way is helpful. But Anna, if you're still here, I hope your scaries have scattered or scurried away. And everybody else, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your Sunday night. And thank you, Mars, for the stream. It was a nice little hangout, and I will see Mars, especially next Sunday. As a reminder, Blank Page Tavern Revival happening next Sunday. Time is TBD. Thank you. Oh, thanks for the stream and great vibes. It was perfect motivation to get started on one chapter I dreaded, and congrats on the arm wrist improvements. Thank you. I am very excited by the data we collected today. I'm going to go ahead and end it. Let's do outro winter 25. Bye. No, I don't like this one. I want something calmer. What is this one calm? No. There's one that's really chill. It's like really, it's got a nice vibe to it. Is it? Yeah, it's this one. It's this one. Now go piss, girl. Bye, everybody.